Welcome back, dear friends. Another day. How fabulous. Now, I've got slightly sidetracked. Like I said, I might have mentioned last week, I can't remember. But I've got the ukulele machine playing when I'm cleaning windows. During the meanwhile, if you remember, I've realised that I've sold all of the first 6, which was sort of like a trial run, of the reciprocating chronometers. Every household should have them. If you've watched the series before about reciprocating chronometers, you'll know that they've been in development for about 6 years. Initially I thought, wouldn't it be nice, there's a gap in the middle, wouldn't it be nice to have an AM/PM indicator, and then that's taken 6 years to try and get it working efficiently. Never mind, I got there in the end, as always. And I'm now in the process of making another 12. The poor old 3D printer is printing yet another one of the enclosures for the gauges. This, which I mentioned last time, these are the things I'm working on. These are actually 4 prototypes that I ended up just finishing because it seemed like a waste otherwise. Interesting. The idea is, the premise is that it's quite interesting. Clocks always go right round. Steampunk I love steampunk basically because you can do anything, however ridiculous. And I ask myself, why does an analog clock have to go right round? Why not have it go halfway round and then go back again? Hence the fact there's a snell cam in there, and as that turns round, driven secretly by a clock mechanism inside, so it's accurate. The arm moves round, reaches that side, then flips back to the start again. As it does so, this is the interesting bit that's caused me so many issues, it flips over a little AM/PM indicator. So you can see whether it's AM or PM. It's pretty obvious if you look out the window, but never mind, needs must and all that. The laser cutter hasn't stopped today. At the moment it's engraving, the raster engraving, really small little details of steamhead.co.uk. I'll show you one that it cut earlier. Here we are, I'm making 12 because I managed to get 6 of the big bits out of each sheet. There's the bit, this is the little bit, it's raster engraving. It is so fine, it's 1.75 millimeters high. It's absolutely incredible that it's legible. It is legible, honestly. It's incredible. And here's the new super improved dial, which I calibrated very precisely to take account of the the snell cam follower, which was a bearing, but then anyway, it's another story. Some more exciting pieces. And we've also spent several hours yesterday and today cutting out I'm working on other stuff, and the laser cutter is the royal cutting out the feet and all sorts of bits from 10mm acrylic. And what I'm currently doing, you don't usually see something like that. Look, a pile of 12 10mm thick pieces of acrylic. Each one is cut. This is the body of the machine, which will be sprayed up by the assembler with brass paint to make it look absolutely gorgeous. And it supports everything. And obviously the laser cutter is precise, but not that precise when it comes to cutting very, very fine holes through very thick plastic. So I get the laser cutters to cut all the pilot holes, and then I have slowly creating even more charts and things and instructions for myself, because there's a myriad of holes that have to be tapped, drilled, M3, M4, up into all sorts of stuff. But it's most enjoyable just listening to some film that I'm watching about caving or something, and standing here drilling hundreds of holes. Lovely. And then of course, when I have to drill holes up to fix things and rivets and stuff in place, I've got my lovely chicken jig. There's the chicken, there's the jig. But you can clamp it vertically in, line it up with a rod, and then you can drill down and get everything like. I'll demonstrate that later. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I'll carry on. I think I've got another couple of thousand holes to drill, so I'll get back to you then. The next job, which I almost started today, but then thought I'd better get on with the other bits and pieces, the reciprocating chronometer, because it's building up to Christmas. I assume that's why they've sold out and things, is to do the auto tuning. There's the microphone, that feeds into the Mega. I'm going to get it to twang each string in turn, measure the frequency using Paul Sofragen's library, frequency measuring library, fabulous, and then have, look, I even got as far as finding one of these lovely little stepper motors, geared stepper motors. 4 of them, one on each of the prongs that sticks out, so I need to 3D print that, but I can't because the 3D printer's busy. That will then be controlled, and hopefully, I don't know whether it's going to work, but once it twings, the feedback will be the pitch, so we won't need any switches or anything. If it's too low, it knows to turn the motor a little bit whichever way and then twing it again, and if it's still too low, then a bit. It'll be interesting to see how it works. It might be it needs to go a little bit too far to start with and then slowly hone into the actual frequency, but I'll get on with that when I have a chance. This very morrow I got absolutely sick of climbing over stuff. You know how it slowly builds up. Admittedly, I've got a pile of boxes in front of the laser cutter, but never mind. Then there were some boxes here, there was a huge pile of plastic offcuts there ready for recycling. There's still a pile of boxes there. I was just getting used to stepping over everything. Such a pain, so I thought I'd have a little tidy up, which is nice. Then I noticed that one of my safety slippers didn't seem to be providing a very good job actually at all. Things you get round to, you just get used to, and then you finally do something about it. And I discovered actually that it's fairly badly damaged. So, lovely Bostik. I did consider super glue, but I don't want to put it on before it's all set and then find I've glued myself to it. So I'm going to use some Bostik and try and get that done. And this morning's video or film is Robin Williams playing a very, very disturbing, creepy part. Very touching, but he was such a fabulous actor, he really was. In 1 hour photo. Very good film. Just a brief catch up. Look, lots of exciting parts for the reciprocating chronometer. Fabulous. But I also realised I'd run out of heraldic clarions. The steampunk door horn, which I have got one in my own house. They're absolutely brilliant. You remember a few videos ago I tried to turn the ding dong doorbell into a dong ding doorbell, but it wasn't very loud and I couldn't hear it from upstairs, so in the end I used one of the wonderful heraldic clarions, and I've run out, so I'm making 6 more. The idea behind them was that they're the same sort of size, in fact they're exactly the same box size as the Nemnet Throb one. I thought, right, well I've got an air pump and I've got an air horn that works, let's make a sort of doorbell type thing. So there's the innards and there's the top, and then the horn pushes in there, and there's a nice little plumbing fitting with, oh yeah, this is one of the reasons I needed to make a load more of them, because I'd bought 50 metres at great expense of this lovely cable, which is it's not actually copper, it's rayon, but it looks just like metallic copper, which you can connect this bit up to an existing or new doorbell switch. It's got batteries inside, so it doesn't connect to anything else. And I've also just finished making a load of lovely, well, 6 of these lovely little wooden junction boxes where you can connect the end of that copper to existing wire or whatever you want. Here are the lovely little hooks or clips that I made to support. They're self-adhesive, and you can support the copper colour wire with them. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It was another one of these grand ideas I have. Let's just make a doorbell with the existing parts we've got. No, as always, dear friends, overcomplicate everything. So I'm having great fun sitting here one at a time, fixing on the little the laser engraved labels with brass pins, obviously, no expense spared, sticking on the red felt disc behind the air intake thing, sticking in the bit of copper ready. It's just, I love this sort of thing, as you know. It's great fun working on the ukulele machine, doing things sort of one-off, working things out as you go along, but equally find a nice film, arrange all the things, get out of it, focusing on my finger, how dare it, arrange all the nice bits of progress and the bits that you need, and sit here with a nice cup of coffee, that's coffee, and some super glue. What more could you want? A good film. Well, at the moment I'm watching The Forgotten, which is a brilliant film. It's really quite disturbing and frightening. I won't go into what it's about, but it's very good, and there's some very shocking, it's not nasty shocking, it's just it's sort of a bit of a documentary style, and then it all goes a little bit haywire, and it's really powerful and quite terrifying. And of course there are the horns that I've painted now. all ready to start fixing onto the actual enclosures. And the one kit that I haven't made any more of is the chronograph, because I thought I had run out of the little cylinders, the nitrous oxide cylinders. I looked in my drawer of exciting things, one of many I hasten to add. Look what I found! I had completely forgotten that my son had gone out exploring in a couple of places that we know. There's an old disused bridge over the M1, for example, where lots of younger people go and inhale things. Sure enough, look, what a harvest. That's great. So I'm now not going to be getting on with the ukulele machine, which is sitting somewhat forlornly over here. I will, however, try and get my wife, if she's got time between marking lots of papers today, to record the voice. So, the lyrics rather. This is why I need help tuning this, because I've just tried to tune it as my wife is about to try and sing along the lyrics so we can get Victoria the automaton working, and I thought I'd tuned it okay, but let's have a listen, dear friends. No. It's just so bad. No. Let's try something else. Back to the drawing board. By the way, this is what we're trying to achieve. It says at the top, tune down one step, so it's F, B flat, D and G. Isn't that amazing? The bearing had come off that string and it made such a difference. But that's better. I'll go through it again. What I'm using to tune it is an online tuner, as I haven't worked out how to do it yet with the motors and all that stuff. I'll give it another go, and then I'll get my wife in to see if she can sing along. I've sung along to it, and it's taken me so long to work out how this ridiculous music is arranged. I've had to print it out about 3 times and then highlight the different words, verses and everything. It is so complicated because it jumps around. I thought it would just provide notes, you know, what you're singing along with the tablature underneath, but then it jumps off and goes somewhere else and then does something else and jumps back. Ridiculous. Right, I'll give that a go. I've got all the wooden bits cut out, and look, dear friends, number 100. I thought this was one of the first kits that I produced, if not the first, and I thought it'd be nice to have each one individually numbered. What a fool, because it means that I cut out 2 of these at a time, but every time I have to go back and edit the numbers, change them. Anyway, live and learn. That's cutting out the engraved hour display wheels, which have got little engravings to hold the numbers, and all sorts of other bits out of 3mm acrylic, so that's exciting. It's finished engraving and now it's just starting to cut. And the wonderful 3D printer that is never off these days is printing the little metal cylinders I just showed you, the clamp that holds them and supports the hour display wheel that the laser cutter is coincidentally cutting out. How lovely, a link. And when I started this first thing this morning, and after an hour it said 1% vis-a-vis 100 hours to print them. It's 6% and an hour and nearly 2 hours, so thankfully it's going down slowly. I designed these last time I made some, because prior to that I was cutting them out of 10mm acrylic, gluing a bit on the side, drilling, tapping, this, that and the other, and I suddenly realised 3D print them, then all the complicated bits, all the threads, everything can all be created magically. Well, as part of the chronograph, though, I needed a coil, a copper coil, like a pipe, 3mm pipe, to connect the pressure cylinders to another part of the mechanism. And I have in the past been using this brazing rod, as always, trying to find the most cost-effective way of achieving something that if you try and do it by buying real copper costs an absolute arm and a leg, whereas these brazing rods are relatively cheap because they make so many of them, and they're mild steel plated with copper, so they look great. Problem is though, the mild steel, the brazing rod, is so tough. It's not malleable at all. It's very springy, so I had to make up the jig. I made a couple of them, I turned them out of brass. The idea being you put them in here, you spin this by hand, and you try and crank this on just to get the right shape. It was a real pain. So, and this is the good bit, this is the absolutely fantastic bit. I found, when I was hunched over the hot computer trying to find a source of copper, this stuff. Now, I've never seen it before, but it's aluminium wire coated with a thin coating of real copper. And by the look of the adverts that I've seen for it, it's meant for art and craft stuff. And I rather dubiously, I mean, I think this was, I can't remember, I think it's 10 metres was about £12, so it's pretty reasonably priced, £1.20 a metre. So I bit the bullet, so to speak, and ordered some just in case. You know, I just think, oh, nothing, it's not going to work. I mean, I'm completely stuck again. But it works a treat. I can't tell you what a joy it was. Right down to making a new, super improved and far softer, because it's wood, jig with no indents on and a hole just to stick the wire in. That way, I'll put that in there and didn't have to take it out each time to clamp in a new piece of wire. Just stuffed the end in there, twisted it round. It is so malleable, it's incredible. You can bend it with your fingers, even the copper you couldn't do that with, and it stays. There's no elasticity in it at all, or springiness. It stays where you put it, so you don't have to overwind it and wait for it to spring out. It is a joy. So dear friends, if you want some way of making 3mm, and I think they do sell it in other sizes, copper pipes and things for your amazing inventions, I can wholeheartedly recommend this. It's advertised as copper coated or copper, but it's aluminium as well. Copper and aluminium art and craft wire. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely amazing? Just cut out all the little bits and pieces and engrave them. These are the lovely gear display gears, our display gears. Look at that. Here's an interesting little aside. Obviously the kit needs one of these, but it's not got any gas in, it's empty, and I thought about designing a clock when I used to find parts of these lying around where young people had inhaled the contents. So they're empty, and it's a lovely use for them rather than just being put in the landfill or something. But you're not allowed to send pressurised containers through the mail. And in one of the original batches of kits, I got it sent back. The Royal Mail, obviously they'd x-rayed it and someone had viewed and seen this cylinder shape. There was no convincing them. They'd even opened the package, taken everything out, obviously seen a great big hole in the end, but decided that in their minds, the feeble brains, this was a prohibited item. Since then, I've included a note saying it is quite clearly drilled out and can contain no pressurised gas, and I wrap it in 2 layers of tin foil so that when they x-ray it, well, so far so good, fingers crossed, the x-ray will just see a sort of rectangular shape like that. And I think, oh, that's okay, that's not a prohibited rectangular shape. 4 hours in, it's 33% done, you can see fascinating internal structure where it started making the 3 screw threads with printed threads, M4 threads. Incredible. And it fills up the inside, inside all the thick bits, the edges, with a sort of cross-section, hatched shape to save weight and the filament. It's absolutely amazing. What's that? No, put it, zig, zig, ziggy, drop, drop, good drop. Oh, 5 times around the park, racing around, come home, had dinner, and you're still up for it, aren't you? Fun-loving dog. No, drop. Oh, what a naughty guy, aren't you? Yeah, no. It's taking so long to make so many of these extra things that I keep finding I have run out of, that I think this is the 4th or the 5th ending to the video that I've done. I have got to stop though. I've got absolutely nothing else to build because I've now built lots more of everything, plus this nice final kit. So next time, I can't wait to carry on with, there it is, the ukulele playing machine. I've been working on it in dribs and drabs, but I think I'm just going to wait until I can get a whole video and then just focus on that. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Please do click on the thumbs up, the like and subscribe buttons, because it helps their algorithm, YouTube's algorithm, promote these videos, which would be lovely. Thanks again, and I hope to see you next time. I really do. This has been a very unexpected event, this video, just getting on making more of everything. So, stop wittering. Thanks very much again. See you next time.